Hey guys, I apologize we were on the wrong stage. So yeah, today it's my pleasure to be here, and then welcome everyone to this exciting discussion of what it takes deep into millions. For me, I'm a DePIN user, so I very think that DePIN is a game changer, powering a decentralized wireless network, AI compute, and physical infrastructures. So to me, I feel like reaching the mainstream in adoption is not very easy. So today we will explore the key challenges and breakthroughs that will scale deep into the millions of users. Um, Device and networks. So today we have a very incredible lineup of experts from the DePIN leaders. So they are building decentralized compute, storage, connectivity, and infrastructures. We will just quickly start with the intros, what you guys build, and probably share one major challenge you see in scaling the DePINs. Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Hi everyone. I'm Evgeny, co-founder of Fluence. We are building decentralized compute network, which is we also call cloudless compute network, which is sort of alternative to big cloud providers, right? Sort of DePIN network that provide that works as a cloud platforms but without clouds. Um, and we, there's one of the challenges is just the pure technology, right? If you look at, we've been around for a while in crypto space, and blockchains also kind of exist for years, but then no one could really efficiently build anything on top of blockchains outside of just a simple smart contracts or DeFi protocols for a long time, just because of the tech. Like tech stack was not ready. Stuff was not stable. Um, you know, essentially like everything like from UX perspective, like starting from the wallet to developer tools, and then it just it was a lot of pain. So right now, I think we're at the moment when the market is more or less mature. A lot of ecosystems, a lot of chains roll-ups. You can do your own roll-up easily. You can attach it to any parent chain, to data availability chains. So sort of the chain part is solved, right? And DePIN is essentially like a um, decentralized marketplace of some resources connected to some chain, and then together it works as a packaged as a product for end users. So I think one of the challenges is just technology, but I think it's solved. It's already we are at the stage where it's solved.
That's good to hear. How about Ahmed? What's your
Security, I guess.
Yeah, introduce your project and then
Yeah.
maybe one challenge that you did for the deep into
Sure,
skill.
sure. Ahmed Shadid, founder of IONET, it's the world's largest AI compute network. We launched last year, got all the way to $4.5 billion market cap, and now is sliding down in with the market. But been an amazing ride, and I think there are so many big challenges. It's not one, so many. The most important one, I guess, is cybersecurity and the data security. You guys working on data, the model security, the infrastructure itself. Because what I found out, which kind of I didn't know before, once I got into this industry deeper and deeper, is I found out all our hardware that is manufactured everywhere is built that the owner of that hardware is a trusted person because you're buying your own hardware. But we need a whole new hardware infrastructure to actually support the deepen concept. One that is built that it trusts no one, even the owner of the hardware itself. Once you have that hardware, you have unlimited potential and possibilities of what deepen could do. But until you get such type of very secure hardware, whether it's wireless, whether it's storage, whether it's compute, until we reach to a point where it's very secure, even to the owner of the hardware cannot get in the hardware and steal something or listen or sense or whatever. Until then, I think deepens will grow, struggle, but until we reach to a point where we have, you know, or depends. For example, there are confidential computing chips. The NVIDIA chips are kind of like the Intel confidential computing chips. These like maybe deepens here. Okay, they're gonna work perfectly, but as long until we solve or in each sector, until we solve the security of this hardware being with an untrusted person, it is a big challenge. It's a huge challenge.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Can I ask a quick question? So you think it's mainly going to be driven by ARM or like open source hardware?
I see that probably. I mean, ARM systems, the design of the chips, but still, I mean, more into confidential, like trust execution environments.
On a hardware level, right?
On a
Because like
hardware, on a
AMD now
like,
has on
yeah,
a
on a
software
like
level.
purely hardware level for sure.
see,
Like
okay.
yeah, it's the whole design of the chip. Like only the NVIDIA H100 newly introduced the confidential computing cores, right? Before that, it was impossible. So I would say computing on any DePIN that have any GPU that does not have confidential computing is not secure, no matter what. Like no one can make it secure. It doesn't. You could trust that they have SOC 2 compliance, X, Y, Z compliances, but you just can't trust 100% full guaranteed. You know, just like crypto, you fully trust. No,
Yep.
not yet.
Yeah, thank you for your input. How about Kai? Like what?
Yeah,
introduce
sure.
your project,
So
yeah.
Kai from Impossible Cloud, we build a decentralized, open, permissionless cloud ecosystem, um, not only focusing on compute, but also storage, computational, data transfer, so everything that you need for the next generation of the AI world. One of the main challenges, obviously, is we want to build mass adoption or bring mass adoption to DePIN networks here. And mass adoption, I think it's great that we have seen already quite a few projects surpassing $1 billion in valuation, unicorns. Next step will be to build $1 billion in revenue. I've done this before. I want to do it again. And I think you need a lot of stuff for doing that. So first of all, to unlock the potential, you need a highly performant system, and short term, you need compliance. Compliance ultimately will go in the next steps to like this secure layer, what Ahmed described. For the moment, the enterprise market is by far the largest cloud market on earth. It's like $1 trillion market. It's growing super fast. And you need to build real-world use cases that enterprises can adopt. So at the moment, our system is used by already 1,500 enterprises. They store on a daily basis 100 million files on Web3 technology. So I think that's the ultimate achievement here. And what it takes to get there is an ultimately super high performant. The system needs to be up and running all the time, so high availability. And security ultimately also with a compliance layer. And you cannot achieve compliance today with like a decentralized network on individual devices yet. It's probably going to take a while until you have secure hardware. But until you get there, there's no way around of making this happen without this, like running this out of tier 2, tier 3 compliant data centers.
Thank you for your input. How about Matt? Like,
Yeah, I feel like it's my third time explaining it to you. But Mark Fidelman from Exhibits, we are the cloud. Well, let me rephrase that. We're the refinery of this whole industry, where we take GPU chips, we make them work the way that your customers need them to work. So we refine them. Like you turn oil into plastics, you turn oil into petrol or cars. We do that for AI compute power, and we give it to some of our customers, some of which are on the stage here. So the biggest problem, I think, and what we're facing, is that when you look at when AI agents and AGI become a reality, and it's becoming a reality pretty quick, some are predicting within 6 months, the amount of compute power that's going to take to drive all of that is 1,000 times more than what we have today, all of us combined. So I think we really, as an industry, need to figure out how to handle that compute and make sure that we have the resources to give to people, or the top 3 guys, Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, their prices are going to go through the roof, and the rest of us are going to have nothing. So as an industry, I think we need to solve that problem for everyone here.
yeah, I think that these are very good input about the challenge of the DePIN. So my next question will be the role of the tokenomics and incentive in scaling DePIN, because I have a mixed view of how token is played today to bootstrap the networks. So my question to you guys is, what is the right balance between sustainable tokenomics and utilities-based mechanism. So I know that some of you might have launched a token, and some of you are preparing for the token launch. So maybe you guys can share how you guys balance about the bootstrap pin and scaling DePIN in terms of the tokenomics. Maybe you can start with
Yeah.
Ivan.
I mean, overall, DePIN, I always say that DePIN is a Uber for X on a blockchain, right? It's just a new generation of all this shared economy marketplaces. But now we have tokens, it's fancy, it's a printing money out of thin air versus like Uber, who has to spend their investors' money like a burn to pay to riders and drivers to subsidize both sides. So it's always kind of like two sides marketplace, so you have to subsidize both sides to bootstrap it. With token, you can do it for free, essentially. Well, I mean, a little, not really for free, but still, you have higher leverage, and I think that's essentially what is fundamentally makes this cycle of shared economy projects different from the previous cycle. That now basically we give people and participants of these marketplaces tokens to incentivize them to join, to bring hardware, to use this stuff, and so on and so forth. So, and of course, there's like a bunch of different token economic models that exist. They may be slightly different from project to project, whatever makes sense for a particular DePIN project. In our case, essentially, it works like a token is used only for staking. So essentially, if you want more hardware to be onboarded to a network, it has to come with a stake for like essentially every new server that joins the network has to have a stake, which secures its performance and existence and availability in the network. And then essentially, if provider fails, the stake being slashed. So it's kind of like, and then staking provider also earns some yield. So it's kind of like incentivization for providers to join, for token holders to be active, and the more essentially it allows to match supply and demand. But essentially demand, the users of the cloud, they just pay in stable coins, or they can even pay in fiat. It actually doesn't matter, they just pay in whatever convenient to them.
I think that's a good one.
Yeah, sure. I think so. When I was building IONET, at the time when we had to do the tokenomics design, we got proposed multiple advisories from like, this is the right way, this is the right way, this is the right way, so many different ways. The main reason, of course, of having a token in a GPU decentralized DePIN, or the main goal of the token, for each network, it has a different reason. For our network, the reason we needed the token is because we need to incentivize the owners of GPUs, the data centers, who are paying money every hour, electricity or kilowatt cost, and we still don't have a client for them, but we need them waiting. Just like when you go to AWS, you have to have the availability. Whenever you click deploy, you get the instance ready. But how can us provide such a service? The only way for that is meaning that I need a network of GPUs ready, waiting. Whenever I need them, I'll pick them up. So why would they wait and keep their computer up and running, the GPU, sorry, their facility up and running, paying electricity, why? So we designed a token with the goal of stay up and running. You're earning every hour. We are emitting coins to every verified GPU that is actually real and so on, waiting. And you will get this reward to kind of cover your electricity cost. Well, it got too much that it's as profitable as AWS, as if you're like literally leasing it at AWS till this point. And basically what happened is we create this 20 years cycle of hourly unlock that emits to the network participants, with some staking systems, which was really good as a collateral to make sure they don't try to scam the system, and if they collateralize, you take it out. Also, IONET just launched 2 days ago, I guess I saw them. They launched the staking for communities. So if you don't have a GPU, you could stake for another GPU and so on, and earn part of their block rewards. But there's an issue here. The issue with this system, after we tested and tried, is scalability. There is one point where we cannot have more than 300,000 GPUs. It's logically not feasible until the coin go 10x in price. Then it makes sense for us to have, more supply. So the more GPU supply. And that scalability issue, I guess, it will always be in every tokenomic system. We tried, we modeled, we simulated. There is one point, if you're building a network that just keeps expanding, the token economics will not work. And that's one big issue here. Having one coin for a massive network, it's a big issue, which we didn't know and solved. Either you make multiple coins for smaller networks or sub-networks, or there's other ways to incentivize them, but mainly just incentivizing with this is at the end, you reach a point where you cannot scale, and you also reach a point where it's just you don't have enough supply in your hand as a company, meaning that you have less and less control over the value of the company, meaning that you have less and less guarantees that from now into 5-10 years in the future, you will continuously incentivize the network to remain there. So it's a very big challenge, I guess.
That's true. That's true. How about you, Kai?
Yeah, sure. So, in the previous company, I have built networks globally for around 500 million users. It was a gaming company, and I think a lot of people underestimate completely how difficult it is to build networks at scale. I talked about this also with Mark Zuckerberg, but also with the CTO of Facebook a couple of times, and how Facebook was investing into data centers, built data centers and so forth. They invest billions and billions. It's massively expensive. You all know, I mean, there are investments of like 500 billion, Stargate program, so forth in data centers. So how can you compete with that? Well, in Web3, and coming to the token question here, the superpower is there's always more smart people, always more resources outside any of the companies, the largest companies of the world, than inside. So no matter if it's Facebook or Amazon or whatever, there will be always more resources outside of these companies. And if you're able to utilize tokens to orchestrate and combine, incentivize people to collaborate and build a network together, that will ultimately outcompete anything. And you need this massive scale. I mean, just as a comparison, the largest compute network on Earth, by far, several orders of magnitude, is Bitcoin in terms of computational power. It's not Amazon and Google what they have built. But you need the right token incentive model for that. And then I agree to what has been said before. So tokens help you to get the supply, the network off the ground to a certain level. Over time, it's only going to work. It's not a supply bubble if you create demand, right? So there is always the size of the network, sustainable size of the network is always a function of the demand. You cannot decouple this forever. In order to reach demand, what I mentioned before, you need a very robust, highly scalable, performant system. And that's ultimately, so you need to build on both sides. So on the tokenomics, you can get things off the ground, but then over time, you definitely need to build on the demand side. Otherwise, it's not going to work and it's not going to be sustainable. So the network will have probably several phases, like a growth phase in the beginning where you have high incentivization, high rewards on getting hardware off the ground. But then over time, efficiency matters very much.
Yeah, I agree that demand is very important. Much less.
I mean, he did a great job of explaining. I'm just going to add on to what he said. Not only is it difficult to scale, it's like an orchestra. Everyone's got to be playing their section perfectly. It's very, very difficult in AI to scale. Now let's go to tokenomics, right? So who here has bought meme coins and been rug pulled? Oh, you guys aren't buying? Okay, good. You're smart. You are smart. Well, we got to get away from that. I think the industry finally has spoken after this last one, Libra. Hopefully you guys weren't involved in that. And now the true tokenomics models need to take place. And he explained it very well about launching. We've used tokens to get adoption, but now we need to use tokens in the token economy to make sure your project scales. And like render networks, if any of you are investors in render networks, as the AI compute goes up, their token value goes up. They've done a wonderful job of providing good utility into their system. So if you're deciding on whether to launch a token, you've got to have that integrated with your economy so that as the success of the network grows, and that we know how difficult that is, your token price will grow with it. And too many of us, myself included in the past, have done it the wrong way. But that's hopefully all changing now. At least I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I think that's a very good one. To me, like I feel like token can be used to bootstrap the supply side, but I think the real adoption is actually on the demand side. So I think definitely like DePIN networks are building for real world adoptions. So my next question is, how do you guys get the demand side? Like how can we get the enterprise, governments, or like like to B2B to C customers actually adopt DePIN methods instead of using the centralized versions? So maybe you can start.
Yeah, I think like for a cloud in general, it's quite hard because clouds, big cloud platforms are big established businesses that've been around for like decades, right? And whenever you think of onboarding, enterprise customers or like a governments, they are most sensitive. So essentially, in a normal world, not crypto world, companies when they work with you, they acquire legal agreement, right, with SLA, so service level agreement, where sort of provider, like the platform as a provider to them, commits to certain uptime or level of services and compensate them if this uptime or like level of services they are not meeting. Then certifications like SOC 2, right, and a few others, like there is a GDPR in Europe for like a data and so on and so forth. That's why like a secure computation is really important if we want to guarantee it the other way, not just by certification, right? And then just the fiat payments, right? A lot of these big companies, they don't have crypto, they don't care, they don't gonna even use stable coins. I mean, right now it's changing with the US, right? With Trump and all this new stuff. But I think for a long time, still like a biggest part of the market for the infrastructure gonna be companies with big checks who wants to pay in fiat, who require SLA, who require you as a platform or like your providers in your platform to have a legal entities that they would sign agreements. And while it doesn't sound really exciting from crypto perspective, that's the reality, and we have to provide ways to onboard these companies, right? So for sure, for example, in like at Fluence, the default way is, oh yeah, on-chain marketplace, you you pay in stable coins, you have like on-chain deals, there's a token involved under the hood, blah blah blah. But then essentially, if you want to onboard enterprise customers, we have to build the layer on top of it for them to abstract it out, so they don't really need to see all the blockchain that is under the hood, and they just directly work with legal entity and get all they need. And then eventually they transition to more like a straightforward on-chain thing.
I think that's a good one. How about you?
Yeah, I'll be quick. I think mainly is the, say, cybersecurity part again. Especially serving large-scale enterprises, they were like, what is security practices, what compliances, you have HIPAA, SOC 2, etc., etc. What type of hardware, where is the location of the hardware, and so on. So they really care too much about the security, like it's a breaker to the deal if you don't have enough or you can't meet the standards of security. I guess also the payment railways should definitely be normal fiat payment, and I guess also positioning the product, the user interface, having a solid sales team, and so on. Just like running any normal company, I guess. It's just more harder, I guess, because it's crypto.
Okay, how about Kai?
Yeah, so very quickly on the demand side, I think what's important to understand, and I think almost everybody still is completely misunderstanding this, the web will go away. The web is not here to stay for a long time. The internet will be a very thin layer where you do social interaction and so forth. And I think Web3, by the way, is a misleading term, because what we ultimately create here is some kind of a post-web infrastructure for machines. So I think the future will look very much like not only read, write, own, but it's about delegation. There will be a huge, massive decentralized storage layer, and on top you will have AI agents running and so forth, doing a lot of the work. So most of the internet will go into machine-to-machine world, All the human users at the moment are on the crypto world are test users, testing the technology and so forth. But I think ultimately it will become a machine-to-machine world. And in order to make this happen, you need, like what I mentioned before, like a super scalable, reliable, performant, and secure system, open, permissionless, and that's ultimately the roads and the chains for future AI technology, and that will take over anything.
All right, a quick one from like we.
Quick one, huh? Okay, so the decentralized AI compute is only going to grow exponentially. So if you're in either AI or DePIN or even better, both, congratulations. What we need to do as an industry, I'll just keep it brief, is do what DeepSeek did to the LLMs. We need to optimize and we need to make sure that we can handle the workloads that are coming through AI agents and AGI, and that's critically important. But I know the industry is working on it.
All right. So thank you for all the panels today. So we learned a lot about the insight from different founders, and what it takes to the DePIN to a million. So I'm very bullish about the DePIN and AI space. So thank you to the panel again, and then thank you for audience for your time. So let's end this panel. So thank you all.